The St. Louis Blues make multiple surprising moves as Jim Montgomery has replaced a player in a lineup due to an injury. We're going to break down this injury, a player going back into the lineup, and two huge updates coming from Logan Mailloux and Milan Lucic that will have fans fired up moving forward. We're going to break down all this, the line changes going into the next game, and so much more in this episode. You're not going to want to miss it. So, Darius, let's just dive straight into it today, where we do get an update that Joseph, lower body injury, is out tonight. Sundqvist in and Bukestad will play. Now, diving into Joseph, there's a lot of people that are mixed emotions on Joseph. We know 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points over the stretch of 15 games with the St. Louis Blues. I mean, Darius, looking at Joseph, we know what he brings. A bit of speed to the lineup. He also adds a bit of score, and we see the 6 points in 15 games. What is your thoughts on this lineup? And listen, we'll go straight into all the line changes and how it's looking, but this team without Joseph in the lineup.
Yeah, and I covered the lines yesterday because they changed them up a little bit in practice. And I guess, injuries do happen, but making me look stupid because, Joseph was in the lineup and we were saying that, Bukestad comes out of the lineup, which I thought was a shocking move, and he's going to be playing. So that is good news. Oh, well, obviously, you never like to see anyone down due to injury, but I think Bukestad has deserved to play. I think he should be in the lineup. But Sundqvist here has an opportunity. I'll get back to Joseph in a second, but Sundqvist has an opportunity here to get back on the right foot. He has not had a fantastic showing so far this season. You're never really relying upon him to put up that many points anyway, but in all areas of the ice, he needs to be a little bit better because I don't think he's been as good as a lot of us are accustomed to him being. So he's spoken out about it. We'll get to that in a second too, but I think he needs to be better in those areas and all areas, honestly. So we'll see how he responds to that. Bukestad, again, to me, he's played okay and good enough to be in the lineup in my eyes, and he's another versatile player. When you talk about Mathieu Joseph missing time, this is a significant piece of this team at this point. We talked about maybe moving him in the summer for maybe a younger player, but that didn't happen. He's on the team. He offers some speed. The goal that he scored the other night was actually very nice. So he's been offering that to the team. And again, he's not going to be a point a game player, but in terms of, shuffling the lines around almost every game or every half game at this point, he has been up and down the lineup and been doing some good things. So that's a tough loss, I think, but, next man up mentality, and they have to get it done.
And I think that's the biggest thing is, listen, the Blues lineup has not seen consistency. We've seen the injuries come through with Neighbors going out, Thomas going out, now Joseph going out. We've seen Logan Mailloux sent down, which we're going to touch on later in this episode. But I think the biggest thing is we're going to see the lines consistently change. And Oskar Sundqvist spoke out. I think it was by far my worst game throughout the season. I didn't play like I did. Obviously, I wasn't good enough. I know that I did wrong, and I know what I need to do to be better. Obviously, excited to be back tonight and show that I can be relied again. Now, the big thing is we know the stretch of games that the Blues are coming off and playing great hockey. I mean, listen, they beat the Edmonton Oilers. They dropped a terrible game versus the Capitals, but over the past 4 games, they have secured at least 1 point in 3 out of the 4 games, getting 2 points in 2 games. The biggest thing is this is the team that needs to get consistency, goal scoring, in the net. Everything has to align with this team. But listen, Darius, getting Sundqvist back in is awesome to see. Listen, he's a big part of this team, fan favorite. We know what he brings to the ice. He's going to play hard every shift. Listen, every player has an off game, and that was the game versus the Washington Capitals. But going into the projected lineups tonight, there is some changes to this. I mean, looking throughout the lineup, the third line is going to be very interesting. There's a lot of skill here, speed. They're going to bring through. We know Suter and Schenn have been playing well. But what is your thoughts on the lineup going through in their next game? And do you think this could be the set lineup? Of course, injuries are going to change it. But could you see Jim Montgomery hoping this sticks?
Yeah, well, he's been changing things every game at this point all season. And I actually don't know if that's a good thing. I think you need to try and build some chemistry with some players, which he has seen to a degree and then went back to a couple times this season. But this is really shaking it up. Like you said, Suter playing with Schenn, they have looked good at times this year. I think it's very interesting based on everything that we were talking about in the summer that Suter's the center of this line and Schenn is on the wing. So that's just an interesting thing that I've noticed. And then when you look at the third line, like you brought up, a lot of speed, a lot of skill there, right? I think that's a really good opportunity for Bukestad on the second line as well. And it's a bit more of a maybe a reliable shutdown role that I think maybe Jim Montgomery can go towards because, Shen is reliable in what he does, and he hasn't had, I guess, the greatest start to this season. But I think these are three guys that Montgomery can go to and be like, I know exactly what I'm going to get. There is consistency in their game and can rely upon them. So that's your second line. Then the third line's kind of run around and try things tonight, I think, in that way. And I think that can be exciting for all those players because that's kind of what they feed off of. If you think of Holloway, Dvorsky, and all of their playstyles, and even Kyrou's playstyle and what they bring to the table, that can be a really good thing for them. So we'll see what they end up doing. First line, I mean, his first line, they got to get going here. Booch got to get going. I mean, he's the next man up for scratching, that is for sure. And then the fourth line, we've seen a ton together, so nothing crazy there. But I think it's very interesting that the third line, has a lot of speed, a lot of skill on it, and we'll see what they'll be able to do in a big game against Calgary because you need to pick up a win here. Yes, you got, like you brought up, 5 points out of a possible 8 last week, which is not bad in theory, even though one of the losses was absolutely disastrous to the Caps. You have an opportunity here to pick up 2 points against a Calgary team that isn't that good and that you've beaten already this season.
And I think the big thing is the next two games are going to be a big dictator. Going into Calgary and Philly, you should beat both these teams. Vegas is going to be hard. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be hard. But then you get two more teams. Again, Philly and the New York Islanders. I think this is the perfect example where they can go out, set the tone on the season. If you can start getting wins, more points, building where you are in the standing. We know players need to be more consistent. Jordan Kyrou leading the team, but you need to see Robert Thomas step up, be that point per game player. Once again for the team, Darius, this is a team that's going to continuously build. We know there's going to be players coming back. Logan Mailloux, once again, we'll bring up very soon, is a player that will jump back into the lineup at some point in the future. Jake Neighbors is coming back. Joseph, just looking at the team and the mold of what's happening, they're going to continuously change the lines. They'll eventually get healthy, but could you see this being the perfect stretch of the next 2 weeks for them to really solidify what they're doing this season, either trading or looking to add to this team as they can build themselves back into a contending team?
Yeah, I've talked about it in the past that, once you get to Thanksgiving, that is, I think, a clear sign of where your team stands, whether you have injuries or not. And if you look over the course of the next couple of games, like you brought up, you have some opponents that I think you can definitely beat. You have Philly twice, they're a beatable team. Of course, Calgary that we just talked about. Vegas is, they're not as good as I thought they were going to be. And you have the Islanders as well. And I think the Leafs will be a tough matchup. There's a couple tough matchups in there, but ultimately, I think you can pick up a lot of points there if you get going. So you're going to have to see, a significant upswing, I think, around Thanksgiving or just after, and they might make a decision, shortly thereafter in terms of where they're going with this season. Because a lot of people are talking about how this team should be better than they are, and that's absolutely true. They should be. So we'll see what they do with the next stretch of games. If things do go south, as they have so far this season, like if it continues this way and they're not, they're losing way more games than they're winning every stretch of 4 games, let's say, then I think they'll start to pivot a little bit. We've heard rumors about how Doug Armstrong doesn't like to sit on his hands. We've heard the rumors about Kyrou. We've heard the rumors about Braden Shen. Maybe they start to send some of those guys off in January, February, or at least make the decision a little bit earlier to do that. And then you start seeing some younger guys recalled and they go, not, rebuild mode, but start handing the keys off to a couple of the younger guys. So I think this is a very important stretch of the season here. Around Thanksgiving is really where you find out, who's in, who's out. And of course, there's room for surprises like last year, like 2019. But is this the group to do that again? Right. So I think it's very interesting. This is an important stretch.
And I mean, the biggest thing is, listen, looking at the future of the team, Logan Mailloux is going to be a big part of it. And we do know that he will be going in with the T-Birds debut against his former AHL team in the Laval Rocket. And the big thing is Milan and Lucic is looking and trending towards playing in the game as well. I mean, Darius, listen, Logan Mailloux is a guy that we're going to 100% see back on this Blues team at some point. This could be Christmas time, maybe closer to the playoffs, and whenever it may be, he will be back on the team when his confidence comes back. But do you think, looking at Lucic, that this is going to be pivotal for him to go in, make a statement, and try to get himself back into the NHL? Or could you see this just being, like we spoke on, a mentor role that maybe pushes him into management in the near future?
For me, I think it's the second one, right? That's exactly what it should be. Keep him around some of the younger guys. Teach him those things we've been talking about, how to win a Stanley Cup. That he's been there, he's done that, and then maybe he gets a management role at some point. I think that's more what it's about. But ultimately, I don't really know what the organization's planning, and maybe it is to eventually get his conditioning up to get him at the NHL level. I think that would be a mistake. But in terms of Logan Mailloux, what a way to make your I guess Blues organization debut in the AHL with Springfield against your former team. And not only that, for both of those guys, and I guess the whole team, it's a 10:35 a.m. puck drop. So get ready for that. Not much of a warm up. You're warming up at like 10 o'clock in the morning. So that's going to be an interesting game. That is for sure. So we'll be keeping tabs on that one. Not the greatest, I guess, situation to be playing in the morning. Like we've seen early games around the league like 12 and 1 o'clock, but they're going to be playing in the morning. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I think that, what better motivation for Logan Mailloux to, kickstart a little stint here in the AHL than against your former team. I'm expecting big things from him.
And I mean, Blues fans, what is your thoughts? Will we see a Lucic goal? Will we see a Mailloux goal? What is your thoughts on the lineup? Will Sundqvist get his first of the season to get him right back into this lineup as a full-time player? Let us know all your thoughts down in the comments. And speaking on comments, let's go straight into comment today. Is Skinner going to win the Norris or Calder? Please make a prediction. And listen, I love Hunter Skinner. I think he's awesome. I think he's going to step in and do great things. But no, I don't think he's going to win the Norris or the Calder. Darius, I don't know if you feel different about it, but
Norris.
Norris? Okay, perfect. Let's lock it in. Blues Digest said it right now. Hunter Skinner is winning the Norris. Don't go bet on that, please, for the love of God. But that'd be it this episode. If you want to go down and leave a comment, you can leave a comment down below, and you could be featured on Comments of the Day. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care, Blues.